service what we are providing, facilitating the change. We are helping the customers to change, to go in a certain direction. For that, it's a big advantage because they have a very strong partner where they can rely on and go the journey then. We would like to go the journey then together with the clients.
Forward Solutions Group is successfully driving companies to succeed where others have failed. Are you looking to start a factory, optimize your existing factory, streamline your production, or take your team to the next level? Whatever your needs are, Forward has a solution for you. Reach out to Ben at forwardsolutionsgroup.com. Howick Ltd. has a long history of innovation in cold form steel manufacturing and producing innovative precision roll forming technology for customers throughout the United States and the world. Check out their machine buyer's guide for off-site modular construction or fast build construction with light steel for framing. Go to their website, howickltd.com. Brought to you by Greatech, one of the largest Autodesk partners globally and software developer of the PowerPack Advanced Design, Advanced Steel, and the StruxSoft product line. The complete solution to automate wood and light gauge steel framing, design and documentation, all the way out to CNC output, model, design, and manufacture with StruxSoft. Learn more at struxsoftsolutions.com. Welcome everybody, Dave Cooper, and we are in Brixen, Italy, and today we're going to talk about an end-to-end solution in the industrialized manufacturing space. We are sitting at the Progress Group right now, and sitting with me is somebody that has been here for 20 years working on this, Hannes Huebser. Hannes, welcome.
Welcome.
I love this. So Hannes, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you have been doing for the last 20 years.
Thanks. My name is Hans. I'm working since Progress since 20 years now. I was always in the area of software development, and we evolved in the end from a machinery supplier to a full service provider to our customers, where we're offering different solutions, but all streamlined in the whole process end to end, from design over planning to production, in order to have a maximized output in the single production and to serve our customers also better with products and processes in order to improve their products on site and in the end have also much better building qualities.
I think this is fascinating. You know, an end-to-end solution where it works from the designer, the architect, the engineer, the developer, all the way through manufacturing, through to the actual installation and construction on the job site, to me, is by itself an amazing feat, and a lot of people are really trying to understand how to do that, and you guys have done that here. Can we walk through the different components of what's involved in the end-to-end? Because we have the architect, right, with their design files. So maybe let's walk through what that process looks like from start to finish. And say I'm an architect, and you know what? I want to use the Progress Group and green code, and I want to build with, you know, my concrete panelized wall structures with all the technology in it. You have the software that can do it.
Exactly. So what we are doing is, in the end, you can use the architectural model and transform it to our Revit model in the end. We have a solution based on Autodesk Revit, where you can in the end use the model of the architect, transform it in the Revit, and in the end enhance there all the data what are needed for the later production. That means, in the end, you are creating products, we are adding informations, for example, like the electricity, the reinforcement, but all the details what you need in order to have an automatic production later on. The big advantage is you can optimize the single products, meaning also from a resource perspective. For example, you need less reinforcement, you need less concrete for that, because you can not just deal with the average information, but plan it already quite detailed, what is in the end saving a lot of errors in the further process steps. That means, for example, if you have like this building here, we designed floor elements what are integrated, all the electricity, the tubes, the lightings, all the single reinforcement components, all directly in the model what is used then for the later process steps.
So when we talk about the tubes, we're talking about heating and cooling climatic ceilings is already designed in. So if I'm a designer and an architect and I say, you know what, I want to build this way, but I'm just not sure how to get in it. You've pretty much taken the guesswork of how they can get into it, not only from the static structural elements of the building, but also the MEPs, the electrical, sound insulation, right, the acoustics, as well as insulation in general for heating and cooling.
Yeah, exactly. So in the end, we are providing the service to our customers. We show them how to use also the software solutions in order, in the end, to build such products like this one here. And that's a big advantage what we can give to our customers. But again, what we are closing also the gap between the architect and the structural engineer in the end. So it's a streamlined process where you're gaining a lot of time savings also.
A lot of time savings, material saving, exactly. Right? You're becoming more efficient moving forward. All right, so here I've designed a set of plans. I hand them over to the team here at the Progress Group. What happens next?
So in the end, we can use then this model and enhance it with information what is needed for precast. For example, we are detailing the single design, so we are cutting it in pieces. We are also already checking with the construction industry, with the construction company for the erection sequence. That means when you need the single pieces on site. And for that, we are already preparing the whole model in a way also for the production that you can later on produce it just in time, but also in a sequence how it is needed then on the construction site then.
So the process begins with the end in mind, in other words. So how is it going to go together on site? And it sounds to me, if I understood you right, that you value engineer. You take their plans and you say, well, we can optimize the efficiency of this construction, the efficiency of the materials, and you make those suggestions on your plans in collaboration with whoever the designer and architect was?
Yeah, exactly, because you can optimize the single products, but also the whole building in a controlled environment. That means we can plan it digitally. And so we are not depending on the single workers on site to make maybe an optimization, a cutout or whatever. So it's all controlled. That means the whole production, what we can steer later on, it's controlled and industrialized environment. So means better quality, better safety standards also, because we are not depending on the people on site, and we need also later on less people on site for that. That means the whole construction process goes much smoother, and also we have a big time saving and also a saving in terms of used materials, but also we are shortening the whole life cycle also of the construction.
Right, but this all translates back to the consumer whose project it is as
exactly.
Well, right?
So in the end, you have a better controlled environment, better safety standards. You need less materials. In the end, you have also a cost advantage there.
And you know what the cost is.
Absolutely.
You're not subject to the market changes as much, for sure. All right, so you take their design and you do a digital twin, right? So you have a BIM model or Revit model of whatever it is. Everybody signs off on it and agrees, and then that model goes to manufacturing.
Exactly. So in the end, we plan the full process. It should be produced then. That means from a project management perspective, also from a supply chain perspective, and we are steering then the single production lines then with the correct information. So that means we can optimize what needs to be produced, but also how it should be produced. That means there are some algorithms in there which can again optimize the single productions for the efficiency perspective, and we can control all the materials what are needed in the production in order to produce the final element then.
From a designer and architect's perspective, am I limited on what I can build?
In the end, you are limited what the machines can in the end fulfill. That means, obviously, if you are splitting up the building in smaller pieces with single elements, you have a certain restriction. But in the end, that restriction is not really a restriction as such, because you can optimize that already in the model. So that means also from an architectural perspective, there is not really a limit what you have there. The boundaries are more or less what the construction site in the end is able to handle, but from a system perspective, there is not really a limit.
So you're not limited on your design. You can pretty much do any design. It's more just what the machines and the size of the panels they can produce, exactly. Or what the shipping requirements will allow.
Whatever,
wherever it's going. Can changes be made real time to the plan?
That's exactly the biggest advantage what you have there. Since you have an integrated workflow from design to production, you are able always to make changes. Until, let's say, a final production, you can always make constant updates. And the big advantage is, since we are streamlining also the whole communication between the single parties, everybody sees the same information. So we are not depending on some breaks between the single process steps, but we have one model what is used from design to production, and that means you can make constantly changes for that until a certain point where in the end you make them.
So it's one digital twin that everybody is seeing and working on. So if something is changed, it's automatically updated on everybody's tablet or computer.
Yeah, exactly.
The manufacturing side of this is super important, I think, to the software side of this, because you also build and develop the manufacturing machines. The Progress Group really controls everything in the flow of the products that go through, correct?
Exactly. So we are not just making the digitalization, but we make also the automation in the end. So that means we are building the single machines. They are also optimized, and in the end, with a digital process, automated machines, what are used in an automatic plant, and later on we are controlling the full process and the full life cycle of such a product in the end.
My project's now online. As an architect, designer, or one of the stakeholders in the project, can I actually visually see what's happening in the factory online and where my project is?
This is actually the biggest advantage of a digital twin, because we can always feedback on each process step the information. That means when you're producing a single element, we know exactly which type of recipe we used, we know which type of reinforcement we used, which type of, for example, electro boxes we put in, from which supplier we purchased them, so you can always trace back. And that information is all provided to the model. That means in each process steps we know on which step we are in the production. Are there quality checks made already? Is it proven? Are there some issues for that? And all that is saved and can always be traced back to the single element and used then later on also for maintenance purposes, for example.
That brings up a good point when you talk about the single elements and being able to trace everything. What if I'm building in Austria or I'm building in Germany and not here in Italy?
Yeah.
Does it change the process or the quality or the materials that I'm getting?
The process is not really changing. Obviously, the quality of the type of materials I'm using is differently, because, for example, reinforcement is a different reinforcement here than in Austria. That's also important always to trace back where did I purchase it. For example, if there are some quality issues with the reinforcement, that exactly know, okay, now from that type of batch of reinforcement, in which buildings did I use them. So for that we have a perfect traceability also.
So it doesn't really affect anything. The same quality comes out every time. It's just whatever the building
code. It's more from building terms, regulations, stuff like this. But the quality is always the same.
So here we are. We're in production. The first panels are coming out. Walk me through what happens at that point. And I'm sure the job site prep's already begun, right? And we're ready to start building this. How does the end user know what's going on? Do they have access to the digital twin?
Exactly. So we are in constant communication always with the construction site. They can access with a tablet, for example, or a smartphone on our system. They see exactly which type of elements we are producing currently, when the next stack needs to be shipped. When it will come on site, they can also communicate with us. For that, they don't need paper prints, so they can always see on a digital platform the current status and informations.
Not only with that information, are they also getting the kit of parts for the assembly with this, or when the walls ship, they know exactly how everything's tied together and that's all in one place on your set of plans?
Yeah, exactly. So in the end, when you make the shipment, it's already a package what you are receiving, and from that package you know exactly which element needs to be erected as first, the second as third. So the whole erection sequence is already planned from a design perspective, used in production, and later on used in the construction site.
So let me get this right. As an engineer and architect, you have designed the programs and software that you can import their information, or they can use your designware, correct?
Yeah.
That information then pulls all the data for structural elements and really gives you your full product list that's needed for the project, right? From there, you take it and then you have costing. And now you know exactly what the building's going to cost, and you can give that back to the architect along with the designs. And the value engineering that you said, hey, if we do it this way, it's going to be much better, right? And you work with that. Then that data transfers to all the equipment and machines. Like, we haven't changed softwares. It all transfers to the manufacturing side of this. And then the robots in the machine, or the automation in the machine, they know exactly what to do. And in real time, they can make changes based on the different structural elements, right? Because we have all the rebar down there. There's thick rebar, small rebar, and it's constantly adjusting when we were looking at this. and it's thinking its way through each part of the production line.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not, let's say, for example, the rebar is not that you have to produce them first.
Yeah.
You can then produce just in time directly on the site. The site means a single table where I'm producing that element then. So that is a big advantage. You're saving transportation costs also, because you are producing them just in time directly in the plant. And you are very flexible in the end, because maybe one element needs a cage, another one needs some bendings and some cutouts, and they are all produced in a way that you're saving also materials, you don't have any waste. It's a much better controlled environment, and we are very flexible.
Yeah, I mean, here, and we're in Europe too, space is limited in a lot of areas, so you know, not having everything come at you all at one time as well is a big deal for space. All right, so now we're on the job site. The on-site general contractor or trades know exactly how this goes together, because it's just in time showing up to the site as well.
Exactly, yes.
For the production of it. And the end value of this is now you have a digital twin, you know every piece and part that happened from the design all the way through the manufacturing. And then there's a whole set of data behind that that says, hey, if we ever had an issue in the future, we could pinpoint it and resolve it quickly.
Yeah, exactly, because in the end, if you have, for example, problem later on in the maintenance for some wall, you know exactly, okay, this was this wall, we can trace back, it was this type of steel we had in, this type of recipe, this type of electrical boxes, for example. All that information is there. It's like a big handbook in the end, what you're generating.
The manufacturers that are using the product, right? Here in Brixen, you're doing your own manufacturing, you have your own automation lines, and you got the whole team of, I would imagine, engineers and software folks. Your partners out in the field, whether it is in the design and architectural side or manufacturing side, they have the resources and the support at any time they need it from the main headquarters here. Is that right?
That's exactly, yeah. So for example, we have some special guys which are just, for example, for product development and also for the support, but they are all constant in contact with our customers. So we know, for us it's very important to be very near to the field, to have feedback, how the software is working, how the process is working, how we can optimize them. And for that we have a very close contact with our customers, and they are supported with different support teams also globally. So we have in different parts of the world, we have different service centers also where they can be supported directly there, but they are all integrated then with, let's say, with the main knowledge what we have here in our headquarters.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it, right? So if you're out there and you decide that you work with the Progress Group, you immediately add a couple hundred people to your team of resources that can help you build and resolve problems or to make things happen.
So the big advantage of the customer that he has a big access to knowledge in the end, because from a knowledge perspective, from software automation, but also from building systems.
Right.
So, and that the customer, they don't need to go to different parties. They have the all knowledge directly under one roof in the end.
You have the R&D here.
Yeah.
You have the team of professionals that have built this entire process. You have the entire customer support team behind it, and you are constantly improving and talking with the clients to get real-time feedback so you can consistently make tweaks to your system as well.
Exactly, so we can provide that more or less in real time, the updates. We are optimizing on a daily basis, always the end-to-end process. End-to-end, what do I mean? I mean, in the end, how the buildings should be designed from a design perspective, from an engineering perspective, but also from a whole, how to digitalize that information, but also how to produce the products in an automated way. So in the end, it's an end-to-end service what we're offering to our customers, which is constantly updated and lives also with the feedback of our clients.
Right. You've been working on this a long time. Would it be possible to do what you've done and write the software that you wrote that's end-to-end if you also didn't own the equipment line and the automation lines? Is it even possible to do what you've done elsewhere?
In the end, obviously, entry is very high there. That's very high. You need to have a lot of knowledge, not just from an automation perspective, but also how to digitalize the information, but also from a building perspective.
Right.
Because the Progress Group, in the end, is not just automation or digitalization. We also have a very big part is building systems then. And for that, the knowledge what we have is in the end all shared in our products what we're offering there.
What was the hardest thing for you on the journey of doing this?
For sure, the hardest thing is to understand also the different cultures, the different way of building, but in the end, the core is always the same. So you need to convince people for changes. That is, in my opinion, the biggest challenge, that you are used to work in a certain way. You are also very successful for that. But in the end, the change part, that is the most difficult. To go in a certain direction, to understand what is possible beyond also my daily work. And that takes a lot of time in the discussions, but it pays off in the end.
You know, the change is hard for everybody, but what I'm hearing is you've kind of taken away a lot of the stress of making a change from your traditional way of designing and building by putting all these checks and balances and controlling the process.
Yeah, that is exactly the service what we are providing, facilitating the change. We are helping the customers to change, to go in a certain direction. For that, it's a big advantage because they have a very strong partner where they can rely on and go the journey then. We would like to go the journey then together with the clients.
This building we're sitting in is a prime example of what can happen with your system and all the technology that's built into it. It's absolutely amazing, and it's beautiful, and it's super comfortable, and the whole building is precast concrete.
Thanks, yeah, absolutely, yeah, we love it.
Yeah. Is there anything that I didn't touch on that you feel people should know about what you're doing here at the Progress Group?
In the end, Progress Group, a full service provider of not just automation, digitalization, but also of building systems. And in the end, the biggest leverage what you have also to change, for example, how buildings should be done, for example, also from an environmental perspective, is in the end, you have to change in the end the way how you design during the process, but also on our customers and the buildings, how they make.
For sure. So if you're a designer, you're an architect, you're an engineer, and you want to be more efficient, you want to have better control of your projects and the products that you're delivering to your end user, this is a systemized approach that is, in my opinion, one of the best out there that I've ever seen. I've not seen an end-to-end yet. I highly suggest taking a look at this because they took the complexities out of doing it. If you're a manufacturer of concrete wall panels, or you want to be bringing this to your market, you guys also set everybody up. You have the equipment and you partner with them to deliver the same services anywhere around the world, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
So, I mean, from an end-to-end solution, you're not only helping the end user whose product it is, you're helping the architects and designers and engineers, but you're also here doing the same thing with the manufacturing, regardless of where it's at. So I commend you for everything you're doing.
Thanks.
This place is awesome. There you have it, everybody. Progress Group. I am sitting with Hannes Huebser. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching. What an amazing show. Thank you to all of our sponsors for helping us to continue to bring all of these innovative conversations to all of you out there. Please visit them, see what they have to offer you, and as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel and ring that bell. It would mean the world to us. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching.